Right, okay. I'm going to show you the technique of shading. Alright, we're using 3 different pencils. This is the HB. So I use the HB to just draw the circles. And then I'm going to use a 4B and a 6B. The 4B is for the lighter shading and the 6B is for the darker shading. Yes? So at the moment we have 4 circles and we want to turn them into 4 spheres or balls, 3D shapes. Okay, so we start with the 4B. The first thing you need to do when shading is to determine the light source. So in this example that I'm showing you, the light is coming from the top left. So the light is coming this way. So therefore, this section, these sections are going to be the lightest, and then it gets gradually darker as it goes around. So the light is coming this way, it's hitting right here. Now, another thing about shading to get that nice 3D effect, because it's a 3D object, light is reflecting. And when light is reflecting, it's not only hitting here, but it's hitting from behind, from the side also. And you will see that. And if you leave a little light around the edge, it also gives it that great 3D effect. Alright, so I'm just going to start. And we're doing four different techniques. For this one, we're going to be doing blending. For this one, we're doing another technique called stippling. For this one, we'll be doing hatching. Right, and for the fourth one, we're doing cross hatching. Okay, good. All right, so we're not this section here. We're going to start with the blending. This section will be basically untouched because that's where most of the light is hitting. And this section just around here will be the darkest. Because remember, the light is going to fade out, and right around the edge, I'm going to leave some light. Yes, light coming in. All right, so let's start. You hold your pencil horizontal, well, not really horizontally, but slanting. Yes, if you hold it too straight, you're going to get sharp lines, and we don't want sharp lines in blending. We want nice smooth shading. So, and okay, so you start like this. I'm just starting at the darkest section first. Right? So it's dark here and it gets lighter as it comes up. Dark, lighter as it comes up here. It takes some practice, but in a little while you will get it. Now when you're shading, if you have, like, I'm going to work on this, all this area, you can get a bit of paper and put it here to rest your hand on, so that your hand don't smudge your work. Yes, so you put a little bit of paper here, and then continue. You have a little shading around there. And this is where pressure is important, because the pressure is what's going to give you the dark to light shade. So you got to release the pressure as you go up to the light area, and you add more pressure as you come down. Okay. Don't be afraid to rub, because if you see where you make a mistake, you keep your rubber nearby. So this area, I want to keep that nice and light. When you're doing art, drawing, painting, whatever form of art, patience is very important. You can't really rush it, you know. But I'm probably doing it a bit quicker, so as not to take up too much time. You can see already it's getting that 3D effect. Alright, I'm going to use the 6B now. I'm going to concentrate on this area. The wider the range when you're shading will give you a stronger effect. So if this section is very dark and that is very light, then it looks stronger. You get a stronger look. There's another term which I haven't mentioned so far. It's called value. And value is simply the range from light to dark. You could do a value scale where you draw some boxes, say about 5 boxes next to each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you would have the darkest shade here, darkest. And the lightest here, which is really blank, no shading. And then you step down, so you have the next darkest. Right, that could even be darker. Then the next, a little lighter here. And this will be the lightest shading. Right? And then this section would be like here, no shading at all. So that is called a value scale. Usually when I'm doing work like this, I don't tape the paper down because I'll be turning the paper, you know, so that you can approach it from different angles, and you have more control. And the main thing that I'm doing now is just controlling the pressure that I'm putting on the pencil. More pressure here. This area is really dark. That's the darkest. Right. Now, if the light is coming this way, you're going to have a shadow over here. So, one way to work out where the shadow is going to be, you get a ruler. Right, here's my ruler. Okay. So, say that's the point where the light is coming from. You draw a very light line, so you could get your HB pencil for this. And you just draw a line going like that, and you draw another line going there, right? Okay, and say it's sitting on a flat surface, you draw an oval shape. It's not going to be round, it's going to be oval. Right. That's a shadow. Okay. This line here, the shadow could go all the way over there, right? But I don't want it over this drawing. So therefore, I'm going to make it a bit shorter. Right? The important thing is that you get a nice oval shape. And that will be the shadow. So you could get your 6B again and you start shading just around the circumference there, the circle. That also helps to give the 3D effect. So here would be about the darkest of the shadow, and then it's going to get lighter as it comes out. When you master the art of shading, you could use just one pencil and do everything, even an HB. It's all to do with balance, pressure and balance. Alright, so let's use the 4B as well. Right, so you can see now, even to give you a stronger 3D effect of this sphere, you can also shade around the line, around the circumference. But you want to also keep the shadow, right? So if I do that, I could even use my HB for this because I don't want it too dark. I just want to be able to pick out the edge of the ball. Let's call it a ball. Lost my paper, so I'm going to do it that way. And when you're doing this bit, it's nice when you be able to turn the paper around so that it's easier to do up that section there. that I'm going to continue working around. You could call this atmosphere. Okay, it's getting there. Drawing is my first love because that was what I started with, just a pencil and paper. Sometimes I use a pen. Pen is good for hatching and cross hatching because you're working with lines. So although the object that you're drawing it's the most important part of the drawing, but the areas around the drawing are also very important. All right, so you can see the ball is standing, it's more standing out now, yes? So what I would do now is make the shadow darker because you see I've already added that, so it sort of takes away from the shadow. So what I would do now, I'll go and get my 6B again and draw right. Then start shading again. As I said, it's darker here. And it gets lighter as it comes out. So here you're almost looking underneath the ball. So it's going to shadow is going to be more intense. very windy today. You might hear the breeze outside, and I'm right by the window where I can get a lot of natural light. You work better in natural light, especially when you're working with colors. All right, disappears there. So, okay. Now, with so, right, just around the edge here, you could use less light. So you could, let me see, let me use a 4B for this. So you could okay, go from a 6B again. You just have to keep changing your pencils as you see necessary. A good practice when you're drawing as well is to step back and look at your work. Sometimes when you're close up, when you're too close all the time, you miss the overall effect. Yes, you might be working so hard at one section, and the other section does not fit in, as it should. So that is a very good practice. Right, so this technique is called blending. So a little shading around here, very light. Our pencil is barely touching the paper. Okay, and then you sort of have a circle. It's about there. Right. Could even make these line a bit stronger. Right. Right, so you get the idea? Okay, so we're going to go on to stippling. Stippling. And stippling, really you're using dots. Dots. But let's start. So the light source is this way. So if the light source is there. Doing freehand now. No ruler. So you do the shadow again. The lower the light source, so for instance, if I was using this light source to shade this one, the shadow would be very long. It would go on all the way over there. If this the light source is closer to the top, say about there, the shadow would be very small. Yes? Okay. It's just like when you stand in the sun, in the morning and in the evening, your shadow is much longer, and then as you go to midday, the shadow is just behind, just below you, so you don't see much of the shadow. All right, so remember, I'm gonna start with my HB. All right, so the light source is here. Always remember the light source, because that is what's going to give you the shading, right? So the light is here, hitting here, so it's hitting just about there. That's going to be the lightest bit, all right? Just around there. Because I don't want to use a line, I just want to use dots, so I'm going to rub that bit out. Right. So you're going to start about there. So that is it. When you get your pencil and you start, right? A little gonna go over there, you know. Although the light is coming here to give it that effect, you still put a little there, right? So you have less dots, right? And then it's going to get more as you come down. Alright, try my 4B now. You can use one pencil and do this. Just same again, it's the amount of pressure that you're putting on the pencil. Again, I'm going to leave a little light here around here. And as I said, the reason why you have this little light here is you will have, if this is a white surface, there will be reflection from here, and that will be hitting there. Reflection from there. Yes? Alright, let's try the 6B. Right here, it's mainly how thick the dots are, you know. That's going to give you the darker look. Yes, the closer the dots are together, is the darker it's going to be. Okay. To do it complete, you would hardly see any white showing through here. Right. This technique is called stippling. Stippling. There is a similar technique in painting. It's called Pointillism. So you're just using dots to make up your picture. I use a machine for this. Now when I'm going to shade, or when I'm going to do the shadow, I wouldn't bother using this technique. I would just use shading. I would just use blending. I would just use a blending technique to do here. And even to go around there, if I need to do that, if I want to do that, I would use the blending technique. Look like I have a visitor. The dog is going mad. I feel like a woodpecker doing this. Alright, take a little break from that. So I'm going to work on the shadow. Remember, you need to keep your pencil sharp as well. Alright, so my pencil going to need some sharpening. And you must remember, you're the artist. If you want to do some stippling in the shadow, you can do that. You can do whatever works for you. Once you get the hang of it and you understand what you're doing, you can break the rules. That's the beautiful thing with art. Most of the great artists in the past, or even now, the ones that we remember, are the ones who broke the rule. And they might run into some problems at the start. But after they've been recognized, that's how modern art was developed. Okay, I think a little stippling here would look good, you know. So that's what I'm getting to. So to start to keep the theme going, I'm not gonna do too much, but I think it would look good. Okay, all right. I'm not going to shade around here, okay? Or maybe I will. I'm just going to use the HB because I don't want it too dark. So just a little shading is going to be. And the reason why it's good to even give it just a little shading, in real life, the edge of an object, there isn't a line. So this isn't really a line. It's just a change from this surface to the background. Yes? Yeah? So you find that if you're doing, say, a realistic drawing, you don't really have lines. Yes? It's just a change from one surface to a different surface. Yes? Make it disappear there. Okay. just have to adjust your position so that you have the right access. Okay, you could just join these up. If you want it to look like a complete drawing, all of it together, you could just shade there. Okay, that's it. But could still put a little more, some more dots here, man. Yeah, just like that. Go closer to the edge with this one. As I say, artwork takes patience, you know. If you want it to be done neatly. But then again, it depends on your technique, your style, you know. Because if you want to complete this in 20 minutes or less, 10 minutes, you can find a way to do it. Not every artist wants something to look realistic, because if I wanted to do a real sphere or ball, all I needed to do is to get a ball and take a photograph, take a picture of it, set up a light at the angle that I wanted to, and take a picture of it. Yeah. That's why cameras were invented, I suppose. Alright, let me just concentrate on just on this section here. Blacks. He knows his duty, right? To protect the yard. And even if I say stop, he's going to continue until he feels that everything is safe. Yes. You don't tell me what to do. Maybe it's the sound, you know, the sound of this pencil on the paper on the surface. Maybe that's what says. What is that? What's going on? A bit more up here. Here they're further apart, dots are further apart. Come back here again, start building up, coming down. Yeah, it's coming together. Let's get some more here. Okay, so that's stippling for you. Stippling. So you can see that 3D effect. Yes. Okay. And when you're drawing a portrait or drawing still life, any object, is the very same principle. Yes? The light is coming, it hits one side of the face, it hits one side of the nose and so forth, and then the other side is in shadow. Yes? Right? So it's just a matter of your drawing needs to be accurate. Right? If you're doing a portrait and you want it to look like the person, your lines that you start off with, those lines must be accurate, because if they are not, it's not going to look like the person, right? If that's what you want, because a piece of artwork is an expression of feeling, and how it looks might not be the most important thing, or what it looks like, or you know, you're doing a still life and you put the still life together, and when you start drawing, you might just feel like, no, this will look better over here, or it would work better over here, and you just change it up and do your own thing. That's the beauty of art. You have control over what the end design will look like. Okay, I think that's it. No? You will always find more things to do. You can. That's how art is. Right. All right, that one is finished. So we've done stippling and we've done blending. Can you believe it? Did all of this and I did not turn on the camera. Okay, never mind. I'm going to do it again. So we're going to do hatching. And cross hatching. Okay, right. So this time the light source is this way, right? So that's the light source, and that's the light source. Okay. So hatching the lines are going to go around. Alright, so let's start. Right, so this side, this section is going to be left blank, more or less. Yes? Alright. Now we're following the curve. The first lines are really just working out the curve. Yes, because if you get the curve wrong, it's not going to look like a ball. So okay. So these are like parallel lines going around. When I say parallel, I mean roughly, you know, because lines will cross. Just remember that the darker areas are around here, going up here, right? The light gets lighter as it goes up, lighter as it goes up there, right? And darker around here, darkest around this section. Okay. I'm going to speed up. So it's really short dashes that I'm doing. But keeping the direction of the line to get the curve. I'm using a pen this time because pen works well with hatching and cross hatching. And this time it's not so much the pressure that you're applying, although that is a part of it, but the darker areas, the lines are closer. Yes? Almost like blending. So just like stippling, it might be you see less of the paper, less white around there. And then the lines space out as they come up to give that highlight. And the pressure is still important, you know, because especially when you want that area to be lighter, then you use lighter lines, less pressure. Okay, so that's hatching. Now cross hatching, again, you observe the light source hitting there, and you do similar to this, using curved lines that's following the surface of the ball. Alright? And then the cross hatching now, you have lines going following that way. Still following the surface. Like that. You need to take your time to work out the direction of the line. Especially if you're using a pen, it's not easy to correct if you make a mistake, so you have to do it light first, right? Which is a technique that you use when doing drawing. Your first drawing, which should be like sketch-like, which is very light, easy to correct. Yes, if you make a mistake. Once you got it right, then alright, so you can see we have those lines going along there, right? The line closest to you is almost straight, and then the lines go in the other direction. Yes? Okay. So once you work out the direction of the lines, then you can start working a bit faster. Right? So I'm working on the darker areas because that's where most of the line is going to be. And at this point, it doesn't matter if the lines sort of cross over each other, the overlap. So as you see, I'm using a pen for this one as well. And although the pressure is important, but also how close the lines are to each other. Right? Where it's darker, the lines are closer, and as I said, they even overlap each other. Right, so the next thing now is remember it's cross hatching, so you have the lines now going from top to bottom. Right. They get closer at this point, because that's the darkest area, again, going right around here. Right, I think I need my paper. Right. Ink will smudge. And you still need that gradual from light to dark. Yes, I was cross-hatching and hatching away, and not knowing that my camera was off. So, but because I love doing this, it's not a problem, not a problem. Isn't it great to do something that you love? Once you know and you get the hang of it, then you find ways of making it easier or quicker. Alright, can you see? Effect, cross hatching. Okay, now, so in this way, shadow would be something like that. Same here, probably like, yeah. Just got to feel it out. Okay, and for this one now you could because we're doing cross hatching, you could do some cross hatching in this one. Alright, so have these lines going, radiating from here. Right? And then I'll do some cross hatching there. So just do like that. And then I do it. Just remember it's going to be darker closer it is to the ball underneath, like so, yeah. Remember, it's getting lighter as the shadow go away from the object. Okay, it's a bit too light underneath here, so we can okay. So now you've got the 4 shading techniques. It's also called rendering. Okay, so you've got hatching, cross hatching, all right, hatching, cross hatching, stippling, and blending. Okay, thank you for watching.